If I were to give it a name, I would probably call it Hannah's Crazy Imagination, Run Wild, or something like that. My name is Hannah Cecil Gurney, and I work for my family business, making and selling hand-painted wallpaper. When we first moved in, the general structure was fine, but the previous people who had been here hadn't liked the fact that the ceilings were so high, so they'd actually lowered a lot of the ceilings. So the first thing we did was to knock all of the ceilings back up to their original height. I'm very lucky and blessed to be able to get so many beautiful hand-painted wallpapers for free from my father. This particular wallpaper, for example, is a wallpaper that was based on an original wallpaper hanging in Yves Saint Laurent and Pierre Berger's apartment in Rue Bonaparte. And when we first made this design, we wanted to see how it would look when we laid all the panels out on the wall. So we're often doing test installations. It's very fun for me because I get to kind of, every year or so, the whole place is kind of turned over into something entirely different. On the ground floor of the Georgian buildings, you have the biggest windows. So it's almost floor-to-ceiling windows all the way across the front of the building. So you have a beautiful big living room at one end with lots of light. And then you go through sort of hallways and you go through the dining room to get to the kitchen and then to the two bedrooms. I've always loved having bedrooms that have a kind of a warm color on the walls so that it reflects really beautifully on your skin. I had a bed made that was very tall because I think there's something really lovely about feeling like you're quite high off the ground when you're sleeping. And instead of having typical bedside tables, which would then be too low, I decided to put a chest of drawers either side of the bed. It is actually something that my father bought in a market. It used to be covered in white paint, and he spent one summer sanding the paint down, stripping it, and then revarnishing it. It's so lovely looking at that piece, thinking that it was the labor of my father's summer when he was a teenage boy. And actually, when you live with a lot of color, it's funny how quickly you can get used to it. You feel like you're in a kind of cocoon of butterflies, and it's uplifting. It makes you feel happy. The dining room was definitely the hardest room to understand how to decorate. It was very narrow, and it's kind of a through room. My father's best friend designed some beautiful mirrors for me that went into the dining room. And these are really, really large mirrors that take up one whole wall. So as you walk into the dining room, the space is endlessly reflected and feels vastly bigger than it is. I didn't want the room to feel traditional, so I decided to put in some very contemporary art, contrasting against the beige background, and then the very modern art with the very traditional mirror. And what's really lovely is the artwork reflects endlessly in the mirror, so it ends up creating a kind of kaleidoscopic effect. The words I would use to describe it would probably be colorful and expressive. And I think that the dog should be able to sit on the sofa, and you should be able to use your best dinner plates and not worry. Because if you feel like you're going to invest in beautiful things and they're then going to make you feel uncomfortable in your home, then it defies the point of trying to create a beautiful home.